Well, I don't know why my happy little face didn't show up in the last video, but I don't really like that. So hopefully we're good. I don't know. Okay, so yes, I had to make sure where I'm at. Imperialism causes raw materials, new markets to sell your goods, nationalism and just power. And then we have those two ideas, social Darwinism, okay, which says if you're not technologically advanced and if you can't keep up with the changing world, you deserve to be taken over. And then we have this idea of the white man's burden, where people have this idea that no, it's not that we're being mean. The white man Europeans, we need to go and spread our stuff to all of these less civilized peoples. Okay, remember, at its heart, that is straight up racism. There's no nice way to say it. True. So, today, pretty quickly, we will look at France and Russia. And if we have time, I'll go ahead and do the United States. But again, I don't want these videos to be too long. Okie dokie. So, you're looking at France. If you look at this happy little map here, okay, France is this dark part right here. Okay, right here. You have during like the Napoleonic Wars, where France has taken over all this stuff. All right. Well, not that, but anyway, Napoleon. Napoleon had influence down here. I guess I shouldn't have said they took over all this. But what France is really going to have a hold of during this period, the imperialism period, because I guess I should go back. If you remember, France also took over like down the what is that, the Mississippi River. She also had Canada, Quebec, and all that kind of stuff. And then the Louisiana Purchase was sold to who? Us. So what France is going to do during this time period, the 1800s, is going to be this, like, it's not the really, really dark, but this dark blue here. I think it's pretty. So mostly we have Africa, okay? Madagascar. I just like that word. Indochina. And then you see, like, she just randomly has some little cities. Whatever. Okay. So that being said, France is going to, and y'all, I'm going to talk about the carving up of Africa completely separate. So if you're like, wait, all she talked about is Indochina over here, because I prefer to take the carving up of Africa with its own thing. Okie dokie. So you can see that France is going to own a whole lot of land in Africa, but we're going to deal with that in another video. Okay, probably the last video that you'll watch here. Yeah, it will be the last video. But I do want to look at Indochina over here. I'm about to sneeze. It is not Corona, I promise. I think. Sorry. Okay, so France really is going to go into China and fight this war with China. It's called the Sino-French War. Did I put that in your notes? I did. I didn't know if it was in there. The Sino-French War, France fights it for control of what's down here. Okay. This down here is called Indochina. All right. It's like Vietnam, Cambodia, stuff like that. All right. Right in here. Do you see here this lighter color? That is what's called France's sphere of influence. So France doesn't actually own that land, but she definitely has influence there. All right. Whether it's economic or political or just, we're going to take you over, the threat of being taken over. This lighter color that you see, and you kind of see it everywhere, but this lighter color that you see is France's sphere of influence, where she influences, but she doesn't actually control. Okay. So that being said, France fights China and obviously wins, or we wouldn't be talking about this. And then as a result, because remember, the winner of a war always gets something. Well, France wants this. Okay. She wants it because of resources. France is going to get, crazy rich off of rubber making right here. Okay, whatever. Rubber making. Like rubber trees, plants, like the rubber leaf. I don't know. I guess I should have got a picture of them, but I didn't. But anyway, she's going to start making rubber and getting crazy rich off of it in here. Okay. Is that all that you need to know about that? Yeah, pretty much. Okay. So France has a ton of Africa, which, like I said, I will hit later. But right now, just be aware, yes, she has some of this and some of this. But what matters for you right now is right here. Because one of the big causes, well, the original biggest cause, I mean, of course, we're there for a different reason, but originally the biggest cause of the Vietnam War is Vietnam, the Vietnamese here, they want France out. So they kick France out. But then whenever they kick France out, they choose to go communism. Well, some of them do. And then we come in and go, oh no, you can't be communist. So really it all kind of starts when the Vietnamese kick France out of here. All right. So you do need to know France is in Indochina at this point, and they're growing crops, they're getting natural resources, and especially rubber plants. Okay, they're going to start selling rubber stuff. Okay, so that was France. Told you it's quick and sweet. Looky there. Did I not do a map? I did. Looky here. This is what I want to do first. Russia. Okay, what we have dealt with Russia so far is here, Kiev in Russia. Okay, and then we have in here, all right, where we had like, you see St. Petersburg up here, where we had like Peter the Great, and then over here is where we had Ivan the Fourth, your secret police, remember? Well, Catherine the Great is queen at this point. There she is. I love this picture. It's one of my favorite pictures of her, because she looks so like bippity boppity boo. Doesn't she? Doesn't she look like Cinderella's whatever fairy godmother? She totally does. And think about the fairy godmother in Shrek. I love this painting because that's totally what it makes me think of. But that being said, Catherine the Great is not originally Russian. She's from Prussia, which is now Germany, where we're at. Her real name is Sophie, by the way. But anyway, she was married to the King of Russia, Peter the Third. Well, a lot of people didn't like Peter the Third. He wasn't very nice. He wasn't as educated probably as a king should be. He wanted to fight, he wanted to go to war, he wanted to hunt. And he was very mean. Like, I know when I say that, it sounds like he's mean. But people didn't like him. If you're a king and your people don't like you, well, they're not going to bag you. And if you go back to Machiavelli, remember Machiavelli? It's better to be feared than loved. Machiavelli says, if you're not loved, then you better be feared. Well, Peter the Third is definitely not loved, okay? But he's also not feared. Nobody's afraid of him. They just don't like him. He's just mean. Well, Catherine marries Peter the Third, all right? She's married to him. Whenever she's married to him, she sees pretty quickly she does not like him. And she has one job as a queen. What is that job? To produce a male heir. Well, she's not getting pregnant. She will eventually get pregnant. There's so many like my brain is like racing because there's so many like stories, and I can't even think of like, about her like having affairs with all these different men and all kinds of stuff. So anyway, all these stories are like swarming in my head. But Catherine the Great, so yes, she will eventually have some affairs and stuff. But Catherine the Great, her biggest like conspiracy thing that surrounds her is, did she or did she not participate in the assassination of her husband, Tsar Peter the Third? Well, historically speaking, we don't really know. There's a lot of historians who say, yeah, She was totally involved. And then there's a lot of historians who say, whoa, we have no proof. We have hearsay, we have assumptions, we have speculation, but we have no actual proof. Well, darn it. Do we know if she was involved in her husband's assassination? No. But her husband dies, yeah, and she plays the right? She plays the grieving wife, and the people like her and they feel sorry for her. She will eventually have a son. Was it Peter's or was it one of her lovers? I don't know. No idea. But at first the people like her. Let me kind of change this a little bit. Some of the upper level people like her. At first a lot of the peasants aren't real sure what to think about her because they don't trust her. That being said, they don't trust her because she's not Russian. Okay, she's Sophie, the Prussian princess. Well, she's not really a princess, but the Prussian noble. Well, okay, that being said, Catherine decides that as an enlightened ruler, she wants to give something to her people because with Peter the Third gone, she doesn't want them to revolt. But with Peter the Third gone, she just wants to give them something. So she's going to give her peasants, her serfs, freedom. No more serfdom in France, what? In Russia. The serfs can go and do whatever they want with their lives. They are not tied to the land anymore. Well, right when she's about to pass that law, there's a huge peasant revolt, and she doesn't take that well. In fact, she's pretty unhappy about that. She's like, seriously? I was about to free you guys. I was about to give you freedom. And then you revolted? You just threw it in my face? Sorry. And she literally tears up the law and gets rid of it. One of the big things though that Miss Catherine will do, coming from her Prussian background, and being that she's highly educated, she understands military stuff, which is interesting for a woman. Yes, I know, but she understands military stuff. So if you go back and look at this, it's going to be Catherine who starts kind of opening up, okay, some of the borders here, which will allow future kings after her to pretty easily take over the rest of this. All right. So at this point, Russia's like this basically, okay, in here. And then it's going to allow a lot of the future rulers to take over this stuff. All right. Until eventually Russia is like this. If you go back and look in the 1800s up to World War I, Russia's going to end up being all of this. Siberia is basically all that's going to be left to take. That was more than Siberia. I included Mongolia too in that. Sorry. But anyway, Siberia up here is going to be left to take. Okay. So Catherine's really the one who kind of opens that up to everybody to take over. All right. So France, Russia, done. Tomorrow. Bye.